Hello everybody, my name is Ryan or MandRproductions, and welcome to the Top 10 LEGO Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope sets. This list excludes all mini and UCS scale models, so we're not going to have any of the polybags in this list, and we're also not going to have like the UCS Falcon or anything crazy like that, because that would be the obvious choice for number 1. I want this to be a more fair and interesting list. If you guys want my top 5 or top 10 UCS sets, check out my other top 10 videos. I have those videos out there. If you do like this video or the top 10 series that I'm doing, please go ahead and click that like button below. It would make my day. If you have anything to say about this list or anything in general about my channel or anything really, just drop in the comment section below and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's get on with the list, the top 10 Episode 4 A New Hope sets. According to Brickset.com, there are 34 non-UCS A New Hope sets, so we're going to be picking from those and starting out with number 10. Let's get into it. For number 10, I've chosen the 7659 Imperial Landing Craft from January of 2007. This thing had 471 pieces, 5 minifigs, and retailed for only $50. So it's basically an Imperial shuttle, except it has basically a detachable bottom piece. This was seen briefly during Episode 4 on Tatooine, I believe, so this is actually from the movie, as little screen time as it did get, and it's a pretty neat LEGO set that LEGO made in 2007. It was kind of a one-off type set that a lot of people never really saw coming, but it was really cool. The 5 minifigs it included were a TIE Interceptor pilot, basically brought onto this set, a Stormtrooper with a black head, you get 2 of those, and then you get 2 of the Stormtroopers with a pauldron, and the pauldron was orange. In general, it just looked really cool, and it had some really cool features, like it had some big missiles in the front section of the basically cargo bay or the troop bay, and you could shoot those missiles off really easily and they would fly at your opponent or your enemy ships, and you could also drop bombs out of the bottom, which, I mean, it was really multifaceted. To put the wings down in the back, there was a rotatable Technic bar at the bottom of the engines in the very back of the ship, and you could twist that to the right or to the left to move them down or up, and they moved in unison, so you didn't have to worry about moving one thing and then moving the other, and they stayed in place because it was with Technic, so really cool features. You could also pretty easily release the troop bay and let the troops down onto the battlefield, so a really neat set overall, and coming in at number 10. At number 9, I've chosen the 9495 Gold Leaders Y-Wing Starfighter from Episode 4, obviously. It had 458 pieces, 3 minifigures, and again retailed like the last set for only $50. It had a very good minifigure selection, I think, including a Rebel Y-Wing pilot, R5-F7, and even exclusive Princess Leia. A really neat Princess Leia minifigure, especially this is the only set this Princess Leia minifigure was ever included, so it's a pretty rare minifigure if you look at it from that standpoint, although I don't think it's too expensive nowadays. This set did have some pretty cool features, such as the flick-fire missiles on the sides of the wings. You can see them between the main section of the ship and the engines on the outside. You can see the little green cones there. You could also put your astromech droid in the ship. The turret on top of the cockpit area was a really neat design. I liked those use of those Technic pieces. And then you could also place your pilot inside the cockpit. Unfortunately, this was before they had really redone the Rebel pilots, so you got a pretty bland Rebel pilot with this set. No like leg printing or arm printing, and it had a really kind of dumbed down torso print and helmet print. It wasn't until 2013 or 2014 when LEGO really started to redo their Rebel pilots and make them look amazing. But the astromech droid was pretty cool. He had a different head mold than like R2-D2. He had a more angled head, which was pretty neat. One final note, this was an exclusive set to Toys R Us in the United States. And at number 8, we have the 9493 X-Wing Starfighter, released in 2012, along with that Y-Wing from number 9. It had 560 pieces for the low price of $60. 4 minifigs included were R2-D2, R5-D8/R5-D4. I guess it was a double astromech droid. It's like the same astromech droid that came in another set, but it had a different name in the other set. Had Jack Porkins and Luke Skywalker, so pretty good Rebel pilots in this one. The helmets on these minifigs were amazing. The face prints were pretty good too. Jack Porkins had the orange visor printed right onto his face, so that was a pretty neat look for him. The X-Wing itself was a really neat and sleek design. This is probably the best X-Wing to date, of course, unless you exclude include Poe's X-Wing and the Resistance X-Wing from the Force Awakens, but I'm just talking original trilogy. This thing had the ability to put your pilot in the pilot seat. You could put R2-D2 in the back of it. You could also have the wings open up. There was an ability you could just spin the Technic axle in the back and it would open up all 4 wings evenly. It looked really nice, just a really nice and sleek looking ship all around. You could change it into Jack Porkins or into Luke Skywalker's X-Wing simply by changing out the tiles on top of the ship. So a pretty neat feature there as well. So let's go ahead and move on to number 7. So far, the 2012 sets have ruled this list, and this is no exception. This is the 2012 TIE Fighter. Its set number was 9492, had 413 pieces for $55, and 4 minifigs included. The 4 minifigures were a TIE pilot, and underneath he had a face, as well as a Death Star Trooper. R5J2 was the astromech droid, and an Imperial officer with a black belt. This is by far my favorite TIE Fighter model to date. I know the First Order TIE Fighter is newer, but I do like the coloring on this one better. I think it just looks more sleek than the First Order TIE Fighter in my opinion. Of course, that doesn't really relate to episode 4, but I thought I'd get that out there. The cockpit piece was an amazing new printed piece on there. The windshield piece looked absolutely amazing. I think they did a great job with that back then. You can see around back the engines looked pretty darn cool too. It was all just kind of in this black and light dark gray color scheme, so I didn't even bother putting on the light blue in the back. I think that was a good idea, though. I think it really held true to the character of the set. Underneath, you did find a couple of flick-fire missiles with red tips, so I think that added to it as well, kind of that menacing feel of this ship. So I think LEGO did a great job with this one, and I'm a huge fan of it. I wish I had more than one. It's such a cool TIE Fighter. Let's go ahead and move on to number 6. At number 6, I've chosen the 10144 Sandcrawler. It was released in 2005 for $140 with 1,669 pieces, along with 11 minifigures. Now, some of you guys are going to say this set is Ultimate Collector Series, and I'm going to go ahead and say no. This set is, I mean, it has the set number of a UCS set, but it wasn't branded UCS, and it didn't come with a plaque, so I'm going to say it's not UCS. I think it's got to be branded, or it's got to come with a plaque for it to be UCS. I think you guys would agree with me. It's just one or the other, or both, but if it includes none, it's not UCS. With that being said, guys, this is a really neat LEGO set. It was one of my favorite LEGO sets back when I first got it in 2005 or 2006. I can't quite remember. I did end up selling it just a few years ago, but it's a really neat one. The 11 minifigs included are a C-3PO with the pearl light gold color scheme. You had an original colored R2-D2, a Gonk droid, which was really awesome, Owen Lars, 3 Jawas with their capes, R1G4, which is that green droid, the Treadwell droid, which is basically the white platform with a stick pointing up out of it, the ASP droid, which is like a battle droid, and R5D4. So a pretty neat minifigure selection all around. I was a huge fan of the Jawas and the Gonk droid in this set. I think they were especially cool. It also had the feature to lift out the center compartment from the ship, so you could have like some Jawa controls and stuff in there as well, which was really, really nice. You could also open up the top area, and there was a pilot area where you could fit a Jawa in, which was pretty cool too. I think this set did a great job incorporating a lot of play features, as well as the ability to open up that front hatch and let people in and out through that big door in the front, you know. It also included a crane, which you could stick on top of the ship, or you could just have outside of the ship at your leisure. The wheels on this thing were amazing. It came with a lot of treads. You could turn them left and right with a Technic lever in the back. Not quite a lever, but something you could spin, and you could basically turn them whichever direction you wanted. They had about 45 degrees of movement left and right, so you were able to turn this thing pretty easily. Only the back wheels did turn, though, so it was not four-wheel drive. At number 5, I've chosen the 6211 Imperial Star Destroyer from 2006. It was $100 for 1,367 pieces, along with 9 pretty neat minifigures. You had 2 regular stormtroopers, 2 royal guards, Darth Vader, an Imperial officer, a mouse droid, R2-D5, and Grand Moff Tarkin, which was pretty much the highlight of this set for me, although I did also really enjoy those royal guards. They were super cool as well. This thing had some really neat features. You could put your Imperial officer and Grand Moff Tarkin in the bridge of this thing, and you can see them piloting it, basically. You could also take off the top section of the set, open up the middle kind of wings or flaps. You can open them out to the side, and then you get a lot of playability with the interior. There's an escape pod, kind of like a throne room type feel to it though, because you had the royal guards in there. You also had Darth Vader's helmet changing station, as well as the ability to change his helmet with this feature that came over the top basically and grabbed it. You also had a weaponry area for the stormtroopers, which was pretty neat as well, and you also had the Darth Sidious hologram somewhere in the set as well. I do own this one. It's really, really cool. On top, you find what are basically the equivalent of old flick-fire missiles. You could push in. There was a little red thing you pushed in, and it shot out basically a lightsaber blade, which was kind of cool. The turrets on the side are pretty cool as well. It all sticks with this light gray, dark gray, and then you have this neon green, translucent green that they put on there as well. So I think this was a really neat set for $100. I still remember buying this after my birthday in 2006 and just being so excited at Toys R Us. It's just one of my favorite sets ever. For number 6, I've chosen the 75055 Imperial Star Destroyer from 2014. This thing was $130 for 1,359 pieces and only 7 minifigs. So the minifigure selection here is a little bit disappointing. I wish there was more minifigures. You know, you would think you would get a little bit something more with a set like this. You got a mouse droid, a Imperial officer, an Imperial Navy trooper, an Imperial crew member, 2 stormtroopers with printed legs, and Darth Vader. The disappointing thing is that it just feels like it's missing something in the minifigure department. It doesn't have that extra special minifigure, you know, you just get a bunch of bland minifigs here, and it doesn't have like those red royal guards like the previous version, but it also doesn't have Grand Moff Tarkin, unfortunately. The reason I say this one is better than the old one, though, is the overall sturdiness of the ship and the design of it. It just looks a little bit cleaner and a little bit more accurate, honestly. It just has a much more accurate look to it without that green color on it, although that green color is classic and looks good to me. You do have a couple of not stud shooters, but spring-loaded missiles on here. The turrets on the side all move as one with a little feature in the back, as well as the bridge looks really cool, guys. If you get a look at that bridge, I mean, the sticker on there adds to it, I think. There's also a handle with this set, so you're not picking it up from underneath and it's not falling apart in your hands like the old one did with me. So this thing you just pick up with the handle real easily. You can also remove the top bit and get to the interior pretty easily as well. The interior is a little bit smaller than the last one, but it does have the same really cool feel, as well as a different holographic Darth Sidious and some other cool control areas. There's also a small storage area for more spring-loaded missiles in the back. At number 3, I have the 75052 Mos Eisley Cantina from 2014. Had 615 pieces, 8 really nice minifigs for $70. It also included the really cool Dewback, basically big minifigure, even though he's not really counted as a minifigure. The minifigures were Han Solo with his dark blue legs and vest, a stormtrooper with the Tatooine attire with his backpack, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a brand new Greedo, and 3 Bith musicians. So really nice minifig selection. I think almost all of these minifigs were brand new with this set, and or either exclusive to this set. So very, very awesome, as well as the Dewback there, a really cool Dewback. The only other Dewback came way back in the old Mos Eisley Cantina and was nowhere near as good as this one. This thing also included a Luke's Landspeeder, which was really nice as well. It had some nice stickers on there. Do give it a lot of extra detail. The Greedo minifigure was really, really cool. It was really nice to see Greedo return in a Lego form along with Han Solo. You also got that classic Han Solo and Greedo table where Han shot first or Greedo shot first. I don't know. Comment down below. And that's included there, as well as an area for your musicians to play. And there's another little room off to the side, as well as a bar area. So I think they did a great job with this set, really representing the Mos Eisley Cantina. You can also fold it into a square. Basically, it all kind of contracts into a square if you don't want it out in that kind of strip mall type form that it's shown in the pictures, so that's really neat as well. And at number 2, I've chosen the Tantive IV set number 10198, a really awesome set that I never was able to purchase, and I really do regret not purchasing it. Available in 2009 for $150 with 1,408 pieces and only 5 minifigs. I kind of wish there were more minifigs, although you couldn't really fit them into the set. You get C-3PO, R2-D2, Princess Leia, a Rebel Scout Trooper, and Captain Antilles. This is the only set that Captain Antilles ever came in, if you guys are wondering. All the other minifigs can be had in other sets. It's a really nice model. It's the non-UCS version of the Tantive IV, although it does kind of look like a UCS set. Like, it really does look really fine. I mean, they've done a great job with the design on this thing, making it look really accurate, as well as being still a playset, kind of. Although there aren't that many play features, it's just really a big playset with kind of a UCS feel to it. You get basically a control room where you can put Princess Leia and Captain Antilles, as well as you can put your Rebel pilot in the front. Not really the pilot, but the troopers in the front. It just feels like it's missing a minifigure, though. Like, it could fit one more minifig, you know what I mean? And then you have the escape pod for C-3PO and R2-D2, as well as some other features like the rotating turrets on top and bottom. It would have been neat if this set came with a stand. I think it would have just really made it an awesome set. The engines in the back are yellow and translucent, so that looks pretty cool, and I just think it's a really neat set overall. It just looks so finished and so well done to me. I really like this thing. It's basically a small scale UCS model in my opinion. Well, what other set would be number 1 from Episode 4 than the Millennium Falcon? From 2011, we have the 7965 Millennium Falcon. It was $140 for 1,254 pieces along with 6 minifigs. We had Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Old Ben, and Darth Vader. So a really nice minifigure lineup. 4 of these minifigs were exclusive to this set, being Obi-Wan or Old Ben, and Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, and Han Solo. The Darth Vader and Chewbacca could be had in other sets. So a pretty nice minifig lineup if you want to consider the exclusives. It was a really nice Millennium Falcon design, a very nice upgrade from the 2004 version, and it just had a really nice interior features. I mean, just everything about it was really awesome. I still remember getting this set for Christmas 2011, and it was just really, really cool. I mean, it had flick fire missiles underneath. It had great landing gear, really strong and sturdy. You had the ability to hide some minifigs underneath the floorboards of the Millennium Falcon. There's a large control panel inside. You also had the cockpit area, as well as just so many other really cool details on this set that really brought it together. So that's my number 1 Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope set. If you guys had a different order, if you would have put different sets at number 1 or at number 10, wherever you would have changed it up, let me know down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like down below, as well as subscribe to see us more of my future LEGO videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Check out one of these 2 videos on the screen if you haven't seen them yet. Peace out!